Rising, streetcar, 4 hours in the office or the factory, meal, streetcar, 4 hours of work, meal, sleep, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday according to the same rhythm. This path is easily followed most of the time, but one day the why arises and everything begins in that weariness tinged with amazement. Why? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? This awakening of the why is posed by Camus as almost inevitable. The routine is bound to be disrupted as the why arises, breaking through the surface. Some of us may try to answer the question while others try to silence it. What is so compelling about this question is less about finding an answer and more about why we ask. Why do we have this desire to search for purpose? This why can be comforting or terrifying, depending on who you are and where you are in life. Sometimes it inspires us, sometimes it stops us in our tracks. Either way, it is a question that reminds us we are here, conscious, and capable of asking. Sometimes it is hard to be human. There is nothing else in the universe like it. We are alone in all of this. Life is difficult, random, and absurd. It is also very unlikely. In this monotony, this back and forth and mindless existing, we can easily forget the sheer improbability of it all, of life, of existence itself. I've been thinking about the unlikeliness of existing quite a lot recently, particularly on my way to and from work. And in this moment, on the busy stretch between Liverpool Street and Moorgate, I am suddenly, fiercely alone. Perhaps these are attempts and failures to find a meaning or an understanding of how and why we are. The more I think about this unlikeliness, the more inclined I am to feel grateful to exist. Grateful that existence is even possible. 1 in 400 trillion is the estimate made by author Mel Robbins, though this seems conservative. 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 second great-grandparents, skip to 2048 ninth great-grandparents. Over the span of 12 generations, or just 400 years, 4,094 ancestors responsible for your existence. Now go back 2 million years to the Homo habilis, just learning to use stone as a tool, and imagine the enormity of life that came before and led directly to you. 1 wrong turn, 1 ill-fated move from any one of them, and you would have never known what it was like to smell, see, hear, feel something beautiful. A long series of evolutionary and biological miracles brought you here, each step governed by a cascade of genetic and biochemical events. But really, your creation is just the final phase of a procedure a billion years in the making. What would happen to that 400 trillion when you factor in the odds associated with the position of the Earth within our solar system, that the conditions on Earth are so finely tuned to life? We exist on a planet in the Goldilocks zone, an idea introduced in the 20th century by Chinese-born American astronomer Su Shu Huang. Not too hot, not too cold, perfect for life. Tweak the forces of gravity or electromagnetism by a fraction, and life as we know it would not exist. Nowhere else in the known universe has been able to produce the same results. You would need to add on a few more zeros for this. As a species, we are prone to overlooking miracles. Ironic, of course, when considering that the idea of a miracle and the belief in it is a uniquely human concept. A miracle is defined as an event that is inexplicable by natural or scientific laws. Though it has its roots in Christianity, the concept has become a colloquialism for exceedingly rare, positive events. It is generally held that, statistically speaking, a miracle has a 1 in a million chance of occurring. According to Littlewood's law, which seeks to debunk the notion of the average miracle, a person can expect to experience an event with a 1 in a million chance of occurring about once a month. Outrageous, improbable things happen, given enough time. But does that make them any less miraculous? If we experience miracles frequently enough, do we start to overlook them? The average miracle, when compared to the probability of your existence existing, is middling. Being born is the real miracle, and perhaps the most overlooked of all. There is only one thing that consistently shifts this perspective, one thing that changes how we look at life: death. Why is it only when faced with death that we realize how lucky we are to be alive, that we stop taking the miracle for granted? There aren't many of us who, if faced with certain untimely death, wouldn't beg, plead for just one more day. Yet we live our lives as if the days, weeks, and months mean nothing, like they are unending, as if we will always have more. Those that face death and survive their circumstance often talk of feeling reborn, having a newfound respect for life. Take Dostoevsky. Charged with subversion and sedition for his involvement in the Petrushevsky Circle, a young Dostoevsky faced certain death in the winter of 1849. Having even written a farewell letter to his brother Mikhail the night before, death was inevitable. This execution turned out to be staged. A horseman arrived at the square in St. Petersburg where the author waited to die, with a message from the Tsar that his execution had been commuted. Just hours later, Dostoevsky wrote another letter to his brother. Life is a gift. Life is happiness. Each moment could have been an eternity of happiness, if youth only knew. This brush with death transformed the way he looked at the world, directly influencing his most celebrated writings. Another way this shift in cognitive focus can occur, though unfortunately rarer while no less profound, is through the overview effect, experienced by those lucky enough to have viewed Earth from space. Described as a self-transcendent experience that produces an overwhelming sense of awe and appreciation of our planet and a heightened sense of connection to the people on it, it has had a lasting effect on the few lucky enough to have felt it. The man who coined the term, after interviewing many of the astronauts who had experienced this phenomenon, described its effects as beyond words. There are some things in life so remarkable, so glorious and profound, that we cannot find a way to substantiate them with words. Why do we seem to lack the superlatives to describe life's most precious moments? Is this why we struggle to answer the question of why? Are we making the mistake of assuming this is a question we are capable of answering with words? We may struggle to understand the reason for our being, a sometimes overwhelming thought. When I am scared, when that why arises and the question feels impossible to answer, I think of moments where silence was enough and an answer wasn't necessary. I already knew. The world ain't so bad, I thought, and felt glad. All the aching muscles and the hunger in my belly were bad enough, and the surrounding dark rocks. The fact that there is nothing there to soothe you with kisses and soft words, but just to be sitting here meditating and praying for the world with another earnest young man, 'twere good enough to have been born just to die, as we all are. Something will come of it in the milky ways of eternity, stretching in front of all our phantom unjaundiced eyes, friends. I felt like telling Jaffe everything I thought, but I knew it didn't matter, and moreover he knew it anyway, and silence is the golden mountain. If I am such a miracle, alive and breathing against such astronomical odds, then so are you. If each of us is so improbable, then every relationship, every connection, every moment is equally so miraculous and should be treated as such. It is in these moments of human connection, whether born of joy or sorrow, that I am no longer searching for meaning, I am experiencing it. Honor your existence. Do not take humanity for granted. I am so lucky to be here. I am so grateful to be alive. I could so easily have never existed.